Hey, everybody, how's it going? This is Seth Williams. You're listening to the REtipster podcast. Today I'm talking with my friend Dustin Heiner. So Dustin and I have known each other for a few years now, and he's been a really good person to know in the real estate world and the blogging space. We do a lot of the same things, but just for different audiences. And Dustin specializes in rental properties, and you can actually hear a pretty fascinating conversation I had with him back in episode 55 of the podcast, if you want to check that out. It's retipster.com/55. And I wanted to have Dustin back on because he reached out to me a couple of months ago to let me know about a new real estate investing conference he's putting together called the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference. It's going to be held on March 10 through 12 in 2022 at the Renaissance Phoenix Hotel in Phoenix, Arizona. So Dustin's going to fill us in on what that conference is all about, who it's for, why you might want to consider checking it out. We're also going to just hear a little bit more about Dustin's story because it's a really cool story. We didn't get into it a whole lot, at least like the origins of his investing journey on the first conversation I had with him back in episode 55. So we're going to touch on that a little bit as well. And I think he'll find it pretty interesting. So Dustin, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm blessed, Seth. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's always great to see you again, but then also just talking about real estate. It's just so much fun being able to bounce ideas off of, other people like you, because a lot of people that I talk to and just run into off the street, they just don't get it. They don't understand real estate investing. Oh, my uncle did that and he lost his money. My grandma bought land and it was bad. And I'm like, well, you just don't do it right. Anyways, long story short, I love talking to you about this. So I really appreciate having me on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you tell us about your origin story? I don't even know if I've actually heard this whole story about, what you originally did starting out in your career and how you found your way into the real estate world.
Yeah, so I had an event in my life that literally catapulted me into real estate investing. And I'll tell you a quick story about it. Now, all my life, I've always been entrepreneurial, trying to start businesses and stuff. And like when I was young, I was 13 years old. I had my own paper route where I would ride my bike with bags on it. Awesome. Throw the paper and hit the garage door and bang it really loud and, wake people up. So I did that. I also had a graphic and website design company growing up. I had a skateboard manufacturing business. I had a convenience store and a pizzeria. Like I've been always
Really?
Wow. Yeah, I literally did.
I didn't know
At the same time, I was always told, just like we all are, growing up, you go to school, you get good grades, you go to college, then you get good grades, and then you get a career working a job. So I was doing that too on top of, starting businesses. So with that, I was working at a county in California. I was doing IT work for one of the departments there in the county, technology work, just regular 9-to-5 job, all the while having other businesses. And as I was working, my wife and I got married and then started having kid after kid after kid. Eventually, we got to our fourth child. So I got to tell this quick story. This is literally what catapulted me into becoming an investor. So when my wife had her fourth child, her name's Faith, beautiful little girl. She's 8 years old now. But if you're watching this, you might be able to see in the background. She was born and I went on paternity leave. Now, paternity leave, that's where the dad stays home with the mom and, bonds with the baby, changes poopy diapers and all that sort of stuff. And so I was home for about a week or so, and then I get back to work. And that week that I get back to work, I get a call from my boss's secretary, like the top guy. I get a call from his secretary who says, Dustin, would you please come to the boss's office? And I said, sure. And I hung up the phone, and I paused for a second, and I thought to myself, why would they be calling me to the office right now? Like, this is weird. This is not normal. And as I'm sitting there thinking, I thought back about a couple months before I went on paternity leave, there was some rumors or some rumblings that the department was running low on money and there might be furloughs and layoffs. And I immediately shook that off. I'm like, no, I work for the government. Nobody gets fired or laid off from the government. I've had great seniority. I kept, 10, 12, 13, whatever years there. I get raises all the time. My bosses love me. There's no way. So I get up and I start walking down the hallway to my boss's office. Now, this hallway isn't very long. It's actually rather short, but every single step that I take, it feels like that hallway gets bigger or longer and longer and longer. And it feels like every step that I take, my feet turn into really heavy lead bricks because the weight of possibly losing my job, being laid off, was starting to weigh on me. And thinking about my kids and thinking about my wife was all really starting to weigh on me. And as I'm walking down the hallway, thinking about all these things, and then I turn the corner and I see my boss's door. His door is closed, but I also see his secretary. And the secretary looks at me and sheepishly she says, "Dustin, would you please have a seat?" And she's a sweet, nice old lady, and she's consoling me with her eyes and grinning because she knows everything about what's going on. I know nothing about what's going on. So I go and sit down in the chair, and as I'm sitting there, I start thinking about my family. I start thinking about my kids. I start thinking about all these years working for this career that if I get laid off right now, was that all a waste? And then I started thinking, oh my goodness, if I get laid off, how am I going to be able to put food on the table? How am I going to be able to pay for our mortgage? And so I got 4 kids now. What does that make me as a father? Does that make me a failure as a father? Does that make me a failure as a husband, as a man providing for his family? And so as I'm sitting there, my hands get all clammy, my forehead gets all sweaty because the weight of everything is just crushing down on me. Then the door to my boss's office opens up. It opens up and out walks a lady, a coworker of mine, with a piece of paper in her hand. And she is noticeably distraught, noticeably upset, but she's not necessarily crying, but you can totally tell her world has been rocked. As she passes by me, my boss says, "Dustin, would you please come into my office?" Well, I go into his office and I get laid off. And remember, this is the government. Nobody gets fired or laid off for the government, but I did. And so I get my layoff notice and I take that walk back down that hallway to my desk. And I sit down at my desk, and Seth, right then and there, I realized 2 things. Number one, I need to get another job. I need to get another way to provide for my family. So praise the Lord, I was able to find another department in the same county and transfer over. I didn't actually get laid off, so it was a huge blessing. Started working there, and it was a great, great job. The second thing, as I'm sitting there in my desk, I realized I need to make sure that this never, ever happens to me again. And nobody would ever have the ability to pull the rug out from under me, so I could not feed my family. And so right then and there, I realized that my value is not in my job. See, what I used to, when anybody would ask me a question, "Dustin, what do you do?" I would say, "Oh, I work for the county. I do IT work for the county." Basically, I'm just telling them my value is in my job. Right then and there, I realized I am never going to tell anybody when they ask me what I do, that where I work, what my job is. No, now I'm going to tell them I am an investor, because I had 1 or 2 properties at the time, but I also had other businesses and my job. I was just trying to figure out what works, but I knew real estate investing, it was the right way to go. Because if I buy 1 rental property one time, it makes money for me every single month until I sell it, which I never will. I'll literally give it to my kids. And so what I decided right there was I am an investor. Now, it may so happen that my money comes from my job, but now that job is my part-time job. Even though, like I said, 100% of my money comes from the part-time job, I am a full-time investor. My mindset changed. And so for everybody listening to this, you need to realize that your boss is only paying, like your value is so much more than your boss could ever pay you. And I'll give you the reason why. Your boss is only paying you just enough to keep you working without quitting, but not so much that takes money out of their pocket. And so what you need to realize is that your value is not in your job. My value comes from my God, comes from myself, and from my family. And so from that point forward, I literally started telling everybody that I knew, friends, family members, everybody, I'm an investor. From that point forward, a couple years go by, I start buying rental property after rental property. Pretty soon I had like 20 to 25 rental properties, and I realized, even though I'm working and making $75,000 a year here at this job, this I call it JOB because you're living just over broke. And so I'm working just over broke and I'm making $75,000 a year here. But I realize I'm losing money because my value is so much more than they can pay me. So what I decided to do at my new job, where it was a great, great department, worked for the sheriff's office, I went to my new boss and I gave him a layoff notice, metaphorically speaking. I just said, "Boss, here's my 2 weeks. I'm done." And my boss said, "Dustin, what are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm not going to do anything. I literally don't need to work. I have rental properties now that make me money, cover my expenses. I can do whatever I want, go wherever I want." And I left. And I'll round out the story by sharing this, Seth. So if you remember that walk that I took down that hallway where my feet turned into lead bricks, it was the worst walk I've ever taken. And this last walk, leaving my work. Now, I worked in downtown Fresno, parked a mile and a half away because I'm cheap or frugal. I didn't want to pay for parking. And so I'm walking, and I've taken this walk 1,000 times. But I felt like I was walking on clouds because I knew I would never, ever need to work a job, a just over broke job ever again, because my rental properties literally make me so much money that I don't need to work. All my expenses are covered. So I'll pause the story right there and just share and then let you ask questions, because that's literally what catapulted me into investing.
Yeah, it's I feel like I have this question a lot with certain people in my life about this issue of security, as if security is the reason why they don't go and pursue their own dream or business or buy rentals or whatever it is. It's like, but that's just too risky, you know? But I guess to me, it's a good illustration of how, like, there really is no security period in life. Like, there is no such thing, no matter what union you might be in, what governmental organization you're with, like, everybody can get canned if the situation is just right. Like, if you think your job is somehow protecting you, it's not.
It's definitely not. And there's a saying that I heard when I was working at the county, like working at the government. I heard this saying, and I said, no, it's not that true. But it is 100% true. It's not if you get fired or laid off or lose your job. It's when, because it will happen. And if you think, like you were just saying, Seth, if you think that your job is secure, well, it's really not. I mean, what if there's another recession? What if there's a crash? Whatever it might be. I mean, back in 2008, when there was a crash, I started investing back in 2006, bought properties, and even though the market went up, down, or sideways, I still made money because I make money in passive income. But the people that had jobs that actually got laid off, and I was blessed to get another job and be able to jump right into it. But there were people that didn't, and they literally had to figure out something. They had to scramble, and I don't know what they had to do. But anyways, your job is definitely not secure. And I am much more secure with my rental properties. I have 30 plus properties now. They make me a minimum of $250 a month. This is the minimum of $250 a month in passive income. And because of those properties, I am literally so much more secure. And I don't work. I literally say I don't work. Maybe like if some people have heard of the 4-hour work week, I think the 4-hour work week is for suckers. I don't work 4 hours a week. I don't even work 30 minutes a week, maybe 30 minutes a month on my rental properties. I get the property management statement and say, oh, okay, looks good, and then set it aside. But all that to say, I'm so much more secure because I have control over my income, my properties, my business. From there, nobody can pull that out from under me.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually talking to a friend of mine who's also an entrepreneur, and I'm curious to hear your take on this. He was telling me, Seth, what you're doing right now, it isn't going to work forever. And basically, I think what he was saying is that any entrepreneur, whatever they're doing, like this idea of I can just like sort of get in my groove and just do it and be comfortable and just do it over and over and over again. Basically just saying like that's not how the world works. And it's definitely not how the business world works. Like things are always changing. Markets are changing. People's attitudes and thoughts and what motivates people is changing. And I don't know, do you think that's true? Are there ever situations where like you can just kind of get there and coast because like you're set? Or do you always have to kind of be looking at the horizon and thinking, okay, what's my next move when the world changes?
I think, well, number one, I would disagree with his statement that you can't just keep doing the same business model. Look at Warren Buffett. He literally says diversification is for people who don't know what they're doing. I don't diversify, Warren Buffett says. I don't diversify. I literally put my money where I know it's going to make money. So he's done the same thing over and over again, and he's doing pretty well. Same thing with real estate, like land investing or rental properties. There's nothing new under the sun. We know that. The Bible says that. And as we're looking at land and real estate, like it's literally hasn't changed for thousands of years. I mean, it's literally, once you have real estate, land is tangible. Property is tangible. Now, the nuance that I would agree with what your friend was saying is different laws come, or a nuance of Airbnb, short-term rental properties, like being able to grow and adapt in business. I think also in life personally, like I'm always growing. And there's a fun movie called Tommy Boy. So Tommy Boy, the dad of Chris Farley was the star of it. But anyways, the dad says for his business, you're either growing or you're dying. There's no third direction. I'm like, well, that makes a lot of sense. Like I want to keep moving because if I keep moving, I can see things coming and be able to work around it, whatever comes. So I disagree, but at the same time, I do agree because I'm always learning. I'm always growing. But also, I got to quickly say that when you get around people, because we all, if we're land investors or real estate investors or whatever it might be, we're going to hear people like our friends and family members who are going to say, I can't believe you're doing that. That's you're going to lose money. Like, they're naysayers, but what they're telling you is they can't do that. They're projecting that onto you, saying that they can't, but projecting on you, saying that you can't. It doesn't work that way. You need to be around people that are actually of the same like mind, that already have the idea and the plan. Like if you with REtipster, all your courses, like I went through your course. It's fantastic. Like I'm going to literally go through step by step to go through the course to buy land because it's already proven. It's already been done. So I just need to follow that path. And then at the same time, get around people like you and other land investors that we can all work together. We can help each other out. We can network together. We might think, oh, if I help somebody with land over here, that's one piece of land I can't get. There's so much land. There's so many rental properties. In fact, I've taught and still teach hundreds of students how to invest in rental properties. I get students all the time, and all the time they're finding new properties, and I'm showing them same areas. Long story short, if you get around people that are like-minded, that want to push through, that aren't going to be the naysayers, you're going to have such a better time investing and building your business, making money for yourself and your family, as opposed to just, oh man, my aunt said it's a bad idea, so I'm not going to do it. So I definitely suggest, you listen to REtipster podcast, you watch them on YouTube. Like everybody, like Seth's YouTube channel is just fantastic. So it's so much wealth of information there. So definitely check that as well. But you want to be around people that are going to help you get to where you want to be with investing in real estate.
Yeah. I heard a really interesting analogy just yesterday. This idea that in order for me to light my candle, I don't have to put out your candle. Like it's not like, it's one or the other. Like we can both have our candles, and for me to light you, that just puts more light in the room. It's not a zero sum game where like there's two boxes in a ring and one of us has to lose. And a lot of times, like, everybody's better off because one person can spread the knowledge and the wealth and the information. So I thought that was a good approach just to life in general.
That is, no, I completely agree with that. And I'll give a quick little side note about like with Master Passive Income. That's my brand that I have, teaching people about real estate. I never like talked to other real estate investors like you, Seth. When I first started, I was like, why would I ever talk and work with, another brand that's actually doing investing online, teaching? Like that's competition. But then I got snapped out of it. I went to a conference that you and I both go to or have been to called FinCon. And then I realized that this conference about blogging and teaching and all that sort of stuff, how to help people, that conference literally catapulted my business, my Master Passive Income business, because of working with other people and helping each other out, not just going to take. If you go to a conference to take, people will sniff that out a mile away. They're like, man, this person, I don't even want to talk to them. But if you go in there with the attitude of giving and how can I help? And then obviously reciprocity, I guess, helping each other out, it just gets better and better. And from that, conference, the first conference that I went to, obviously hanging out with you, you've been on my show, I've been on your show, other people, other investors, like working all together now because of just getting the idea of it's not a zero-sum game. We can literally help each other out. Now I have so many friends that are influencers, have their own brands, that are investors, very, very successful investors. They're like, man, we're all friends. Hey, let's do a meetup. Let's all get together, bring all of our audiences together, and help each other out. So that's literally what I'm doing now, is creating that Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, just because I know my students want to meet up. And I know all my other friends, like you, Seth, and everybody else, like, yeah, our fans or audience and students want to meet up. I think, well, let me just put one together for all of us, and then we can all get together and hang out together.
Yeah, man. And moving on to this conference, so like, who is it for exactly? Would you say it's for like beginners or intermediate, advanced? Like, what is going to be talked about at this thing?
Yeah, so I teach real estate, rental properties, like specifically rental properties. I don't want to do flipping, wholesaling. I don't do any of that stuff. Like, I just want to do rental properties. Same thing with you. You do land investing. There are other people that I'm bringing in to be speakers that literally just do syndication. One's a tax expert. One does Airbnb. One does mid-length, like 6-month leases. And so when you're thinking about who it's for, I started really thinking, well, if I do a conference or an event or meetup, just, with Master Passive Income, just me, I'm just going to talk about rental properties. That's going to be boring for a lot of people. It's going to limit a lot of people. But then I thought, oh my goodness, I know Seth. Seth's a great land investor. I know people, like, I want to learn about land investing, let alone my students are going to want to learn too. So what if I brought Seth in? And then I know my friend, Annie Dickerson, who has Good Egg Investments. She does syndications or multifamily homes. It's like, man, I know a lot of people I would love to learn more about multifamily syndications or passive income. Why don't I bring Seth and Annie? And then my mind kept going and saying, man, there's so many other ways to invest in real estate. So fast forward, now I have 20 of my friends that are coming in that's going to be all working together to teach how to do all this sort of stuff. Now, when you're thinking of like, what is the topics? So I have my page where I literally walk through every single topic, but it's everything from commercial investing to land investing, like everything I've just said. But at the same time, what we're doing though is not just teaching. We can get teaching. Everybody could just go to like YouTube and do that. What we're building here, with obviously Seth's included and everybody else that we're bringing on, is we're building a community. We're building not just networking for the sake of networking, but we're trying to actively get us working together and have a community of other investors. It doesn't matter if one's land or one's multifamily. We're all investors. We could all help each other out. So the ultimate goal is to build a community, and the outcropping or the thing about that's going to bring us together is the event, which is the conference. So that's the big broad picture. So literally everybody's welcome. And if you go to the conference page, it's REWBCON, like rubcon.com. So it's the abbreviated letters for Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference. REWB.co. Sorry, I said that wrong. REWBCON.com. And you can see all the people that are speaking there as well. You can see Seth is in there. You can see the topics that we're going to be covering. But what it's really going to do is we're going to build this on, hopefully, Lord willing, year after year, do another conference and then another conference and then be bringing more people. And so I'm really looking forward to it, even just getting together and hanging out with friends, like you, Seth, and Annie, and the other, like David Perret, he's a military to millionaire. Anyways, long story short, we're going to have so many great people there to build a community.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually significant for me. I've been to a handful of different real estate investing conferences over the years and that kind of thing. But I like the fact that this one is new. It's kind of like at the ground level. Like we can all kind of get in and see this thing on its first day and how it evolves. And this will be my first ever appearance anywhere ever as like a guest speaker. I'm kind of nervous about it, honestly, but
I'm pumped about it. I think you're doing great.
I'm nervous, but I'm also looking forward to it just because I think it's going to be fun. And at this point, the most I know is it'll probably be something about like land investing 101, that kind of thing. So I wouldn't tell people to expect this to be a land conference. That's not what this is, but there will be a pinch of land in there as I'm up there talking about it. And really, I think it's going to be cool just to see people. I mean, whoever out there from the REtipster audience is able to join. It'd be really cool to meet up with you guys. And if you guys do show up, I mean, don't be shy. Come talk to me. Say hi. It'd be really cool to meet you. And we'll probably do some kind of like separate meetup at some point during the conference as well.
Yeah, I'm even working out because remember, the goal is community. The goal is networking and really just getting so that investing is so hard when you're by yourself. Whatever you're doing, whatever type of investing, it's so hard when you're by yourself. It's so much better when you have other people around. So I'm even going to pair people up. Like if when you come, hopefully I may be able to pair you up with a buddy investor, because I know you go to a conference, you're like, oh, I don't know anybody. Well, we're going to hopefully start that out. And also, another great thing is I'm going to also hopefully create like little mini masterminds of like 3 to 4 people, pairing people together. But here's another great thing, like you said. Yeah, thank you. You said something that was really key. Getting on the ground floor of this conference. What is amazing is I'm bringing 20 fantastic investors who are influencers, have their own channels and all that sort of stuff, literally coach people how to do this. And we're having very few people actually coming. This is going to be so intimate, which means you're literally going to be rubbing shoulders with all of us great investors. I'm definitely want to be more humble. Seth is a much better investor than me. So you're going to hang out with Seth as well as all these other great investors as well. And so what it's going to be like is so intimate. It's not going to be like 2,000 people, 3,000, 5,000 people. It might get there in, 15 years down the line. But right now, we might even just have like 200 people. With 200 people, you're literally going to meet everybody, and you're literally going to be right next to Seth the entire time, which is fantastic. And I even was talking with Seth a little bit after or before this interview, and I was thinking, what if we had a specific room set up for the brand, like an REtipster hour? if you want to hang out with Seth and all the REtipster, have a meetup just for everybody that's a part of REtipster. And if you are interested in REtipster, go to this room at this hour. Seth will be in there, all the other students, and it's a meetup time. And so again, it's not going to be just like teaching, because I know when you actually communicate with other investors outside of a lecture, a teaching, which is good, don't get me wrong, the community and the relationships that you take away from the conference are going to help you so much more. Plus, we also have everything recorded too. So you could also get all the recordings to learn everything else, like the tax tips. I definitely am looking forward to learning from the tax experts, that real estate investor tax expert that I'm bringing in. All this sort of great information, but so much great community building, and literally a REtipster meetup. So I'm pumped I might even go hang out with REtipster meetup too.
You better.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. It's really cool though, because I think of all the conferences I've ever been to, and like you said, like the teaching part of it, it's cool, but like really the things that I remember the most and the things that meant the most and the things that still benefit me to this day are the people I met. And a lot of them, like, I wasn't even expecting to meet them. Like, I didn't know who they were ahead of time. And either we ran into each other or like they scheduled a meeting with me beforehand and made a point of meeting. And you're somebody like that. I didn't really know you before FinCon. And I feel like the time we had together really helped us kind of build some kind of a relationship. And I can say the same for like, I think about half the people that are showing up as speakers to this conference, I know them. And the only reason I know them is because of conferences. So there's a lot of big things that can happen just by rubbing shoulders with people who are doing the same thing. Maybe they're further along than you are, maybe not, but similar to any kind of mastermind group, if you guys have ever been in one of those, like, it's amazing the brilliance that can get extracted from that, even from places where you wouldn't expect it, just by talking to people. So should be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really pumped. So yeah, it's going to be in Phoenix in March 10th in the evening is when we're going to start doing check-in through the 12th, Friday and Saturday, because I know, most of us investors, we have full-time jobs, we have kids in school, and so we're trying to disrupt your life as little as possible. So it'll be on a Friday and Saturday are the conference days, and Phoenix is absolutely beautiful in the winter. So it'll be March 10th is the starting of it. Yeah, it's going to be gorgeous. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous here. And the hotel that I got, I'm super pumped. Like, it's a fantastic space for the event that we're putting on. The ballroom's great. Oh, I'm also going to have a lot of vendors or sponsors that are going to be there who are like Seth and I both use all of these different companies to help our businesses get better. So if you want to learn what other software, what other projects out there, whatever apps are out there, or services, they're going to be there as well. So yeah, as best as we can, I'm trying to build a big community of every type of investor.
Yeah, I would concur with you. It seems like most of the times I've been to Phoenix has been around like the February, March time of year, and it's amazing. I mean, there's like, yeah, it's beautiful. If people want to like go to Phoenix for some other reason and like piggyback, on this conference, like what other stuff is there to do in the near vicinity or just in Phoenix in general? Like what could people?
Yeah, I love that question because I personally lived here for about 5 years. Remember, I used to live in California, now I live in Phoenix, and I have a lot of friends that come into Phoenix, especially during the wintertime. I literally have a laundry list of things that you can do, and I'm like I said from the very beginning, I'm frugal, and I have 4 kids, and so I'm not going to put a list of paid things like go to Legoland or go. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you hikes that you can go on. I'm going to give you, let's say Sedona, like a tip, like an insider tip or a local tip of what to do in Sedona. There's the Grand Canyon, which is absolutely amazing. There's so many. So I'm going to have a big laundry list of things that you can do if you bring the family as well, so that you can make it a longer trip and see a lot of great things here in Phoenix. So yeah, you'll be on the lookout for that as well on the conference page, because I definitely want you to take full advantage. I love Arizona. Well, I came from California, came and lived in Arizona, and I just realized, even though it gets hot, but it gets hot other places. But man, the winter time, like literally from October all the way till like May, is so amazing. And plus we get sun literally 24, or not 24 hours, at least all day, every day. And so Arizona's fantastic. So it'd be great to have you. We have amazing golf. So here's also what I was thinking. I don't know if Seth, do you golf?
I have. I wouldn't say I do it well with any excellence, but
So I was thinking maybe in a future year conference, we might just continually do in Phoenix in this time. But there's like literally this is like the golf mecca. Like this is the homeland of golf, and there's so many golf courses. And I was thinking, well, if we did something in a future year on a Thursday, hey, have like a Rubicon meetup for golfers, and we all go golf. So I'm thinking of lots of stuff just to continue to build community, because when you have a community of other investors, it just makes life and investing so much easier.
Yeah, as you're talking, it might be kind of fun to, I probably shouldn't even say this because I don't know what we would do, but rent a van and take some tipsters from the audience out to the Grand Canyon or something, or like go to a baseball game. Is baseball going on at Chase Field this time of year?
So that is spring ball. There is so much spring baseball here. Like literally teams fly here into like where I live. I live in Peoria. I'm maybe a mile away from the Peoria Sports Complex, where I think like the Mariners, no. Anyways, I can't remember which team it is. But anyways, we have Surprise. The city of Surprise has like 4 baseball teams that practice and play there for spring ball. We have Phoenix and Peoria, like all over, even Scottsdale. So this is like the baseball mecca. So yeah, I think it'd be great if you checked out the Grand Canyon. I can give you tips all the way up there. Baseball's here, golf's here. It's an amazing area.
Grand Canyon, I was there about 10 years ago, and I can't think of many places I've ever seen where I'm just like, oh my goodness, like the view is just stunning. I mean, it's like nothing you've ever seen before. You can see so far. It's way better than pictures when you're there in person. So.
Oh, the pictures make it look like garbage. Like compared to like if you hold the picture and you're looking at it, from there, you're like, oh, this picture is horrible. Just because it doesn't show the depth, it doesn't show the grandness of it, the grandeur of it. Yeah, it's amazing. And even if you're going up to Grand Canyon, like I said, I have stops along the way of what you can do just to, hey, stay here for about like an hour and get and soak this in, and then on your way up, then you go to Grand Canyon. Then it could definitely be a day trip, and it's terrific.
So in terms of signing up, if people want to sign up, is there some kind of a discount for REtipster members? Remind me how that works.
Absolutely, 100%. And so, yeah, I definitely want everybody who is a part of REtipster to get a discount, as well as the hotel. So if you go right now and you literally look at so it's going to be the Renaissance Phoenix Downtown Hotel. If you go there right now, it's literally like $350, maybe $400 just to rent one room in March during that same time. I've worked out with the hotel to get you $229 per night at this hotel where the literally conference is at. I personally love staying at the hotel where the conference is at because I'm literally out till like midnight, and it's just so nice just to take the elevator and go to the room. And the reason why I'm out till midnight because I'm talking to so many people, I'm learning, I'm growing. So from there, I got a huge discount for you in joining in the conference hotel itself. But also, just for the conference, I have a special $50 off code for you. It's super simple. Just type the word in Seth. You don't have to do REtips or anything like that. Just type the word in Seth, and you'll get $50 off of the conference at whatever package. There's the basic, there's the Pro Pass, and then the VIP. VIP is literally you get a dinner with all of us, all included dinner with all of us investors, influencers are going to be there too. So yes, use the promo code Seth when you're going through the checkout. It'll give you $50 off.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to set up just a link, a shortened link for this as well, retipster.com/REWB. So if you guys want to check it out, do that as well. I'm also going to have this in the show notes. This is episode 120, so retipster.com/120. Is there anything else we should know about the conference, Dustin? Or does that kind of cover all the basics of it?
That definitely covers all the bases. But here's one last thing. I definitely have to say this. So this is I should have said this from the very beginning, but this is a no sales pitch type conference. If you've been to any other conference, usually real estate conferences, if you go to a Grant Cardone, you'll pay $100, Grant Cardone's conference, you'll pay $100, then you'll go to a session and you'll get pumped up. They're really hyping everything up. And then they'll say, okay, the session's over. Now run to the back and go give me $20,000 on your credit card. Like, what? That's like, I didn't learn anything. And now you want me to pay you more money? This is not like that. This is the 100% opposite. You're going to come here and this is what you're going to get. You're going to get everything that you need to get started investing or continue investing, meeting new people, all that sort of stuff. So this is 100% a no sales pitch conference. Now, if you want it, like you come here and you're like, hey, I really like this person, with their coaching, let me go ahead and work with them. You can do that afterwards, but this is not where you're going to actually have something tacked on top of that as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to be absolutely sure in my presentation to not pump anybody up and be very uncharismatic. I'm going to be mumbling the whole time. You probably won't hear half of what I'm saying. So it's not going to be like Grant Cardone at all. I'm kidding.
I know. I think you do fantastic. But here's also another thought. Grant Cardone is a salesman. I mean, I'm not going to knock him. It's his own business, but he will not ever be at the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference. He just doesn't fit the community. I'm building a community. I'm not just building something to make sales. So he would never, I would easily say he would never be invited. Even if we got to, thousands of people, he wouldn't be invited because he just doesn't fit the community. This is the type of people that we're trying to bring on. Seth, myself, like we're just givers. And honestly, for everybody listening to this, when I thought maybe I want to do a conference for a giving audience, like to give back or give to our audience, Seth was literally the first person I thought of. And I thought, you know what, I got to call Seth. If he's for it, then it might be a good idea. Let me move forward, because I don't want people speaking at this conference who are takers. The type of person that's a taker, it's the type of person like their personality is like, feels like they're punching you in the face. That's not who the type of people that we're bringing on. I'm bringing on people who are givers, who just want to help, who literally become successful investing in real estate and like, man, I just want to help people too. So yeah, that's what we're all about, is literally about building community and being all about givers. So if you're a taker, have that transition in your mind, like I'm going to be coming to give at the same time, you're going to receive, because we have so many great people here.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I hope at least a handful of you out there can make it. And if you do, again, be sure to come up and talk to me, and maybe shoot me an email before you show up, just so I know you're going to be there. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So again, retipster.com/REWB if you guys want to check out details on the conference. Yeah, thanks again for coming on, Dustin. It's great to have you again.
Thanks, Seth. I really appreciate it, man.
Yep, you bet.